Hi, everybody. I'm Gwendolyn Sterk of Sterk Family Law, and I have the honor to be with Aishling Dalton Kelly today to talk about home care. Hi, Aishling.
Hi, Gwen. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to get together with you. I
It
think that
is.
today is a good day to start talking about home care and what you do, because there certainly is going to be an evolution, I believe, as a result of the recent pandemic. So I wanted to get to know your services and provide that to all of our clients and our contacts. So can you tell us a little bit about what Aishling Companion Home Care provides?
So we're a licensed full-service home care agency, and that encompasses helping folks today with activities of daily living, to which all of us, cognitive or not cognitive, have to function as a human being every day. So basically we can help with showering, the hygienic needs, making sure that our folks eat, are hydrated, possibly some transportation to the doctors or to pick up their medicine. Probably the most important thing we do, Gwen, is overseeing that they do in actual fact take their medicine, and just being the eyes and the ears and the advocate from the family members either have to work or are out of state.
Right. And it's interesting because you're giving a lot of details of what have to be included. I think there's a lot of misconceptions today of what home care entails. Would you agree with that? And what would you say about that?
Well, I would most definitely agree, because really home care is relatively new. It's been out for about 18 years. A lot of people don't understand what home care is. They actually think it's home health, and it's not. It's a completely different entity. The home health piece is where Medicare covers intermittent episodic visits for a certain time while you rehab, and your insurance covers it. Home care, on the other hand, is only paid for if you're a veteran with service hours in, if you have long-term care insurance, or you pay privately. So two different entities. But many folks don't really understand, Gwen, that home care is a really serious business, and that we have a scope of practice that we have to stay within, and we have to go through a lot of training and a lot of interviewing and a lot of supervision with our staff. So it's kind of a very casual thing by the name, home services, but let me tell you, it is by no means casual anymore.
Right. And you're going to send somebody out there that's been trained to be able to do this. You're not sending somebody out there to sit on the couch. You're there to do certain services, correct?
Right. And I think, because it's relatively new, and you think about the home being cozy and nice, and, you have your seniors in the house, and everything is nice and warm and cushy, that people think, well, somebody's just going to come along, sit on the couch, hold my hand, and maybe have a conversation. We never get clients that we do that for. That's a misconception that's out there. And usually when we go in, we're very focused. We've written a care plan, and we have duties that we absolutely need to do while we're there. And of course, if there's, conversation and there's time for all of that, wonderful. We want to be mindful to engage our seniors, certainly. But it's very focused what we're going in for, to perform the duties that we've been hired to do.
It's very interesting. Now, recently we've had the pandemic, and, you've heard about all the people being stuck in the nursing homes. They can't get out. The kids can't visit them. Children banging on the door, doing visits through, window waving, and so sad. I think that that's going to change the way the perception is. Would you agree with that? And what do you see as the future?
I definitely would agree with you. And I think, Gwen, to be honest, when all of these facilities and communities were built, they were really built for a place to house seniors that maybe didn't have a spouse anymore, the family had gone away. They weren't meant to be sort of institutions, so to speak, or facility, which is now a mass holding place for people from the gamut of maybe having a medical condition to having dementia. And that's not what they initially started out for. And because of the baby boomer situation now, these buildings are going up all over the place. And the buildings are appealing to basically the children who are paying for the care. And although some of them are really, really nice, there isn't specifically the one-to-one that you get in the home. And to me, there's nothing like staying at home. And if you look at any of the research, it will show you that 80% of seniors over the age of 65 believe that they're going to stay at home and age in place. And home care is going to facilitate that now, most especially since this pandemic, because family members are now taking their loved ones out of these communities and facilities and bringing them back home.
Right. I think it's interesting that, perhaps the pandemic's going to have a good outcome in the sense that people are going to start to prepare for this now, whereas before they weren't. So if somebody's about to embrace this, you have a parent, maybe they're 75 plus, they're not able to do all of those functions at home like they could before. How does somebody get started? Because I think people feel paralyzed, like, where do I go? Give us some advice.
Yeah, and it's hard getting old for all of us. And as the parent, it's very hard then for the child to now start being the parent of the parent. So those conversations are very, very hard. However, I'm from Ireland and we tell it like it is. And the truth is that when you see changes and that you see help needs to be given, having that really nurturing conversation with your parent, saying that, the love that they gave you as a parent and the security that they provided, now it's your turn as the son or the daughter to give back, and that you want the best for them and you want them to be safe. And I always tell families, it's like planting a seed. The flower isn't going to blossom, in a day. You have to keep planting the seed, keep revisiting it without forcing it, and keep nurturing them to say that we're going to get you some sort of assistance, but never for 1 minute do you ever tell them that you're going to have home care come in and take over, because they're losing everything. And they're aware that they're losing a little bit of their independence. And that's not easy, Gwen, for any of us to think about that. That's hard.
Right. And even if it's short term, maybe not long term, there are different options, right, that are available.
Right. And I always tell families, when you're trying to come in, just put it to your parent that, especially if there's been some sort of a fall or maybe a hip or a rotary cuff or something, I always say, talk to your parents and say, we're going to have people come in to help you intermittently. And of course, our goal is always that our client gets stronger. We know in many cases that does not happen in the case of cognitive loss. It usually gets worse, but some people do, Gwen, get better because they're hell-bent on not having us in the house, and that's a good thing. Right. So you can come at it from both ways, saying it's only temporary. We're just going to get in some assistance now because the family members can't be here all of the time, and we want the best for you. And for us, and I'm certainly going to speak for many home care agencies, safety is our number one concern for the seniors. And we encourage the physical therapy and the exercise for them to get better. We can go in for a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks, and we give the family the option to convert to ongoing care if indeed things are not going as fast as maybe they thought the recovery would. And sadly, sometimes we go in and we're there forever, but we never present it like that up front.
And that's the thing called life. So if somebody's listening today and they're saying, okay, I understand it's time, we need to start embracing this journey, how can they get a hold of you? Where should they start? Give us some advice.
Well, I always recommend that families do their own little bit of research first. So there's nothing like going on the website. So aishlingcare.com. We have lots of drop-down menus there where we tell about the different types of care that we do and why we're different to some other home services that are out there, because there is different levels of licensure. So for me, the communication piece is very, very concise and has to be upfront, because if you're not communicating your needs specific to me, I don't know, that we're going to be a good match for each other. I need to know everything to see if I can help you or who I'm going to recommend you to, because sometimes the care is beyond stuff that we can do as well. So we talk a little bit about that. Really, to start, you need to, as a family, have a meeting and decide, okay, we need to have a family meeting. We need to put this in place. If mom and or dad can be involved, great, involve them. And then pick your meetings, and then one of you or two of you start making phone calls. Again, I always recommend that you call 2 to 3 different agencies. And I believe that getting a good insight as to how they treat you on the phone and their good follow-up and their level of knowledge will really help you get into the driver's seat as to how you want to move forward.
Right, and then you can explore all your options. And I think the other thing I would say as a family law practitioner is you also have to make sure you have your paperwork in order. And really, a lot of times we're waiting till that bitter end. it's not just that will or that trust. It's also getting your power of attorney for healthcare, your power of attorney for property. And if not, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you're in a guardianship, and then you can be at opposite polarized positions to your own parent. And these are things also that need to be talked about within that structure. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Very important, both for you and for me. And just back to what you had asked me originally, the casualness that people think that's involved in home care. We have lots of paperwork, right? And
Right.
You're an attorney. If it's not written, it didn't happen, right?
Yep.
Everything has to be checked off and put in place. We enter into a formal legal contract. Some
That's
people
correct.
don't like that word. We call it agreement, but regardless, it is a contract. And just like what you need to, Gwen, for the work that you do for these families, it's all very legal, and it all has to be put in place, and that takes time. Not something that I would suggest that somebody does when you're told mom needs to be discharged within an hour. It's too late
Exactly
then.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand the Medicare rules and all those other items. So if you're listening today, listen, I'm a big advocate of taking care of business and having Aishling on to understand that this is an option that's available for you, and it's part of the business that you need to do as you grow older, both the parents and the children, talking about what that plan is and getting together a system. So they're going to go to your website, and then they can contact you by phone. Can you give everybody your phone number today?
Yes, our number here is 708-361-7845, and you can press option 1, and that will lead you straight into not having to go through our menu, where we can talk to you directly about services and answer any questions that you have. Of course, we're on Facebook as well. I don't think this generation is on Facebook, but they're the best two options for us.
Right, but the kids are. And so if you're listening, let's start taking this pandemic and what we've learned and turn it into a positive. It doesn't have to be a negative. So let's start today having these conversations. Well, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I hope that, people are taking that next step forward, because guess what? The thing about time is it passes, and it's going to happen to all of us, right?
That's right. You got it. And forget about doing it for your parent. We're educating for ourselves, because I don't know that it's going to change much. So it's actually, you're learning for both of you, really, right?
That's for sure. All right. Well, thanks for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Gwen. Have a good one.
Take care.